Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy New Year. Welcome to LinkedIn Live with the Keynote Curators. Our first version here in 2023. We are making history. This is exciting and I am thrilled and enthralled. And I want to talk today about space, outer space, NASA, rocket ships, and moon launches. I had the great fortune of traveling to Cape Canaveral, the Kennedy Space Center in Florida with my family over the holiday break. And we visited the complex where the rockets are shot off from in the past and in the future, where SpaceX is, where Amazon Blue Origin is now, and all the projects and the museum and the remnants of the history of the space program. And I wanted to share with you all, first of all, if you haven't yet, you can dial into us through direct messaging, chat. You can find us on the web at thekeynotecurators.com, or, feel free to email us, call us, grab a cup of coffee. Here's my space shuttle cup. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a tea, grab a water, and get ready for a ride. Pardon the pun. This is the space shuttle. This is the Discovery. And it opens up. And this is where the astronauts do their moonwalk and all that kind of stuff. Very, very cool. This is from my generation, Generation X. The baby boomers were inspired by the moon launches, which is where our point of departure is today for the conversation. And I want to relate it to business, and we can also relate it to New Year's resolutions and really anything in life. The start of the year, something new. We have a fresh slate. We have a blank canvas, pure possibility. And we say, okay, we're going to improve this part of our life, family relationships, or my fitness, or I'm going to do better in business, or I'm going to get that raise, or I'm going to get that new job, or we're going to move into a different home that serves our family better, or get into the better school or the different program of studies. All those things are valid and all those things are important, because if you don't have anything to shoot for, pardon the pun, we're shooting rockets. If you don't have anything that you're pointing towards to land or to hit, then it's all kind of aimless hope. The baby boomers were inspired when John F. Kennedy said by the end of the decade of the 60s, we're going to land a man on the moon. They were also driven by a battle, if you will, a war with the Russians, who was going to get there first, and it was a matter of national pride. Well, they did it. And it was inspiring, and it was full of pure possibility. And then comes along the space shuttle, a reusable rocket, or a reusable vehicle rather. And that was groundbreaking, and that helped start building the space station. And then you had the establishment and the expansion of the space station. And that was all about community, and that was more about millennials and working in groups. And then you have Blue Origin, SpaceX, Virgin Space, and all these other private companies. I'm not going to say it's the Uber or the Airbnb of the space program, but there is a bit of a shared economy or things going private. So there's been a common thread throughout. Each generation is marked by a different type of inspiration, but inspiration nonetheless. And it's important to understand what impact the space station has on it. I mean, there are direct benefits of space exploration. You think, okay, I'm a business person, or I'm a homemaker, I'm a lawyer, or I'm an engineer who builds bridges. How does the space station impact me directly? Well, these rockets and these vehicles and these ships, it requires a lot of innovation, collaboration, technology, breakthroughs, transformations. What do we see? We see the moonshot. We see the landing of the Pathfinder on Mars, which is miraculous. And all that's required, no gravity and how it lands, and then the signaling back to Earth and the collecting of data and all the science. But the diffusion of this innovation and the creation of, if you will, space markets and all the ancillary markets around it, and the inspiration and the way that it inspires people around the world, agreements and ideas are forged between all sorts of countries in the context and in that source of space exploration. And the most visible thing are what we call the moonshots, literally landing on the moon, but figuratively, these big things where we're landing on Mars, or we're reusing rockets, or SpaceX's shooting a rocket into orbit and then it's landing on a pad in the middle of, in the middle of the water. These things are ideas that are brought forth to fruition. Velcro. What does that have to do with anything? Velcro was created by NASA. The shield on the mask, those are common day things in ski goggles, scuba gear, sunglasses, all sorts of lenses, ceramic engineering, the chips that we use that can withstand great heat, the micro, the nanotechnology that allows our Apple Watches to operate. If you follow the space program at all, you know that what took the first rocket to land on the moon, computing power wise, our iPhone has something like 20-fold or 50-fold the amount of computing power that the computers that aided that first rocket to land on the moon do. And that's just extraordinary to think about. So when you see the end product and you see, let's talk about the moonshot, the landing on the moon, one giant step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It's hard or difficult to see all the mini wins along the way. And that's what that's what I'm asking you to talk about. As I was at Cape Canaveral with my daughters and we were on the Mars simulator, landing on Mars, and we were going through the museum of all the astronauts, and we met astronauts, and there was a Lego area, and then we went out to the launch pad and saw the vehicle that carries the actual rockets, and then the launching pad itself and the control room. I kept thinking about all the other little mini moon landings that it takes to have the big moon landing. And how is that at the start of the new year, where we're like, 7 steps to a perfect beach body, 5 steps to create new marketing for your business, how to make your home more efficient, the best XYZ to buy, the top 5 this, and everybody makes what are called resolutions or big promises. And if I've learned anything from working with all the keynote speakers that I do, it's that you want to work on big rocks. Don't get caught in the minutia. But sometimes it takes little wins and little victories to get that moon landing. So while we're excited, we're inspired, we're moved, and we're touched by the beginning of the year and the blank canvas and the pure possibility of it all, the huge moon landing idea can become overwhelming and overpowering. And then it can become crushing and soul crushing. So shoot for that big goal, but break it down into little bitty pieces. And that way you'll land on the moon. But day to day, you're getting your mini wins. The metaphor, the anecdote where they say there's a bricklayer and he goes to work every day and it's kind of mundane and it's kind of boring. And he's just laying bricks, one on top of the other. But the bricklayer that does the same thing, but knows that they're building a cathedral or a work building where important ideas are going to be transforming society and history. They're not building, they're not just laying bricks. They're building a cathedral of ideas and societal transformation. So it's the same thing, whether it's your beach body, whether it's your financial health, your physical health, your spiritual well-being, whatever it is, break it down into small pieces. Don't just focus on the moonshot. Keep your eye on the moonshot. Know where you're headed so that when you take off, everything's in place for that perfect landing. Because little victories build on each other and you gain the momentum. And you gain the momentum, and all of a sudden you can begin to see the reality of that possibility being realized. So I just wanted to take a few thoughts at the beginning of the year and say, hey, look, I was inspired by visiting with my daughters at Cape Canaveral, the Kennedy Space Center. It's an incredible place. We didn't get to see everything. We want to go back, but that we could see the big things that are really visible. And it's often hard to see all of the smaller mini moonshots that are required to get you there. So keep that in mind as we start off the new year. I'm excited about 2023. Everybody I've spoken to, all of our clients and the keynote speakers and the musicians that we work with are really looking forward to another period out of the pandemic and events that are coming forth. And there's many moonshots in those as well. I know today the event in Las Vegas, the CES Computer Electronics Show, is starting, and normally they have 4,400 exhibitors, and this year they have 3,100 exhibitors. Normally there's 130,000 people that will be registered, and now there's about 70. But those are mini moonshots towards a bigger idea, and people are going to be curious about internet security, and they're going to be curious about artificial intelligence. But to get all those big ideas, they needed little mini moonshot steps along the way. So we appreciate you being with us. I thank you for joining us on our first LinkedIn Live for the year. You can look for us pretty much every Wednesday, noon Eastern, for a couple of minute chat and conversation. For those that joined us, thank you. For those that are watching the replay, thank you. And feel free to share this with anybody in your network. And this is the place where you're going to find curated insights and curated ideas that are going to help you be smarter. So until next week, make your moonshots, but look for your little wins. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week and happy New Year.